The symbol of the Hapkido. The emblem on the cover, which is symbol of the World Hapkido Federation, is well remembered and has been proudly worn by Hapkido practitioners since the beginning of the modern Hapkido period. From August 1967 until recently, the eagle has been used as a symbol of Hapkido. The members of the World Hapkido Federation, however, have now adopted the traditional and original Hapkido emblem as the official symbol of Hapkido. This symbol, although modernized somewhat in design, still embodies the theory, true principles, and philosophy of Hapkido, based on ancient and traditional Oriental teachings. The outer circle signifies the universe in its general sense and man in its specific sense. The circle has been adopted from the Oriental philosophy that a large circle represents a globe and a small circle represents a man or mind. The globe represents the constant growth and development of Hapkido and the World Hapkido Federation. The arrowhead-shaped symbols, which cannot be found in any other martial art emblem, face diagonally from opposite side to signify the hand position and technique frequently applied in Hapkido. This shape is derived from the hand position fingers are extended, forming a V design. Philosophically, these two arrowhead shapes symbolizes the opposing principles of positive and negative for yin and yang. Under the philosophy of Hapkido, there is no opponent who cannot be overcome by the technique of Hapkido, regardless of size or strength. When utilizing these principles, these arrowhead symbols can also be interpreted as ki, or as the offense and defense in Hapkido. Thus, the emblem radiates all the meanings and tradition of Hapkido with its principles and truths. We hope this will be a welcome representative symbol of the spirit of Hapkido. Historical background and contemporary development. One should understand that martial art techniques are not invented or created by certain individuals. It has been developed rather as a part of the history of a nation. Just as wrestling, boxing, and fencing are the unique sports of competition in the Western world, Taekwondo, Judo, Kondo, along with Hapkido, have been developed through a long history of Oriental countries. Hapkido was introduced to Korea along with Buddhism. Hapkido techniques were originally known and handed down through the hierarchies of monks, ruling families, and royal officials as a means of self-protection and personal safety. Therefore, it wasn't known among the common classes. Often the origin of Hapkido is misunderstood and thought to be a form of Chinese or Japanese martial art. The more completely recorded history of Hapkido dates back as early as Samguk Shide, the era of Three Kingdoms, 3 AD. Buddhism arrived in China from India at the Huhan Mar, late Han period 67 BC, and was introduced to Korea in 372 AD. Buddhism and Hapkido together became popular throughout the country among the upper class and royal court. The evidence of this fact can be found in various wall paintings. Example, Samshi Cheongmu In picture and Gongsong picture in the Gakju Cheong, a picture of the fighting form of two Hapkidoists during Goguryeo. One of the three kingdoms, Shilla, formed a special youth group called Hwarangdo. The purpose of Hwarangdo was to train the future national leaders by means of strengthening, training, combining mental discipline, martial art, and traditional scholarship for their physical fitness and mental discipline. Hapkido techniques were taught. Historical evidence of this can be found in Stonewall scripture, Kumgang Yeoksa상 in Sokuram cave, and carving of the Sumunjang image on the pagoda of a Hwangyongsa temple. These are located in the old Gyeongju city, the old capital of Shilla dynasty. Baekje, the last of the three kingdoms, also trained all the people with Hapkido for physical fitness. The three kingdoms united and became Goryeo dynasty. During this period, throughout the ruling generations of many kings, including King Yejong and King Junghae, the Hapkido experts were brought into the palace and performed demonstrations of the martial arts. This was the beginning of Hapkido as a royal martial art. In the subsequent Lee dynasty, the king Jeongjo ordered Dokmu Lee to write a book of martial art techniques. This book, Mu Ye Do Vo Tongji contain detailed description of empty-handed techniques and use of weapons, dagger, sword, club, pole, spear, rope, stone, etc., for attack and defense purpose. In the history of Hapkido, a monk grandmaster Susan taught Hapkido to the monks and fought against Japanese Imjin-Weran invasion. This was a prime example of Hapkido applied on a grand scale. Hapkido flourished through several dynasties from the period of Three Kingdoms, Samguk Shide, up to Lee Dynasty. At that time, it lost its popularity. The major reason for that is attributed to the collapse of Buddhism and its subsequent replacement by Confucianism. Confucianism, which respects scholarly discipline and looks down upon physical force or martial art, influenced even the national policies. Because of this change in philosophies, Hapkido disappeared among the general population and barely maintained its continuance among the individual masters, monks, and royal families, and here only as a secret self-defense. Today, Hapkido has been brought to light by father of Hapkido, Youngster Choi, had studied in a deep mountain since the age of 9. By the time he came back to the world, Korea had been liberated from Japanese colonial rule. Choi had taught all the techniques to a few outstanding disciples. In turn, these disciples were in the process of popularizing Hapkido techniques during the Korean conflict in 1950. After this, Hapkido started spreading. Within a few years, Hapkido had been popularized internationally with a tempo unseen in its history. This was accomplished by means of demonstrations by top masters in various countries throughout the world. Today, one cannot find a single city in Korea without Hapkido schools. All the government organizations, all military academies, and special military units have Hapkido practitioners totaling 1 million already. Among foreign countries such as USA, West Germany, Canada, Spain, Argentina, Mexico, Brazil, China, and France, there is a solid foundation of Hapkido schools. This rapid spread and popularization is attributed to the unceasing efforts of the master instructors and the superior and unique nature of Hapkido itself. Unique characteristics of Hapkido. As in any martial art, Hapkido has its own distinguished characteristics. The Hapkido structure has more than 270 major techniques with a possibility of more than 10,000 variables. The additional 3,864 attack and defense techniques to the multitude of counter-attack and combinations make for endless flexibility. It is this unique advantage of Hapkido that makes it its origin of all martial arts of the Orient. Some may wonder how one can master 10,000 techniques. It is not so difficult as it may appear. Once the fundamental techniques have been mastered, it is quite easy to learn and perform the many variations. The fundamental techniques of Hapkido are classified as follows. 1. Empty hands against empty hands. 2. Empty hands against weapon. 3. Weapon against weapon. Each category is divided into offensive and defensive techniques, and each of these have joint locking and striking techniques. Within a joint locking technique, twisting, throwing, paralyzing, and strangling techniques are included. Within the striking techniques, kicking, punching, hitting, cutting, and stabbing techniques are included. The techniques with weapons include dagger holding, dagger throwing, sword and long knife, club, cane, pole, spear, rope, stone throwing, and stone holding techniques. In using various weapons for either offense or defense, there are various positions techniques in standing, sitting, and lying down. Hapkido is especially powerful because when attacked, you attack the weakest part of the opponent's body with a stronger means, namely attacking the arteries, veins, nerves, organs, and weak areas, thereby altering the opponent to your advantage. At the moment of attack, through a special breathing technique called Danjeon Hohu, total concentration of your body to a certain point, produces superhuman power when striking the target. This combined with proper timing can be fatal to your adversary. Besides fundamental techniques, attacking weak points and power concentration through danjun, one outstanding feature of Hapkido is the usage of the opponent's power to your advantage. Altering their power to enhance your ability by means of leading their attack in a circular pattern and uniting your powers can neutralize the opponent's attack and gain swift control over him. For example, when the opponent attacks directly from the front using their fist, knife, or foot, it is harder to defend if you remain perpendicular to the attack. But by leading the attack in a circle, the opponent's strength will be diminished and can be used with very little power. This principle is the same as trying to stop a raid directly. First, lead the raid or stream to the side, and when it loses its impetus, it is easy to stop. The superiority of Hapkido does not only depend upon effective defense, but also in the use of superior offense characteristics. When you're attacking a small portion of the body of your opponent, you use large portion of your body. Conversely, take a big portion of the body with a small portion, so as not to miss a also or greater force. For example, it is hard to hit a needle point with a needle point, and easy to miss a nail head with a small hammer. Remember, striking, kicking, and punching techniques are used with full concentration force when the opponent is physically close. On the other hand, when the opponent is at the distance, these techniques are applied without great force. In the use of superior offensive characteristics, compare the strike of willow branch with the strike of oak rod. The willow branch is soft, supple except at the distance of touch. The oak rod is hard and brittle and could break. The willow branch method produces more speed, more power, and consequently more damage. This principle is easily observed in the application of punching. Until the target is approached, your hand carries little strength. Using breath-controlled magnification, concentration, and timing at the moment of contact, you maximize the impact. In the case of the joint twisting, until you're attacked, keep a flexible body before the lock or throw. In that way, you may move faster. In other words, if you use pressure prematurely, you will lose the speed and power available for the impetus of continuous attack and dynamic defense. Thus, with a minimum amount of strength, a Hapkido practitioner can produce maximum damage to the opponent. Careless practice of the techniques, especially joint twisting and speed combination, may lead to limb dislocation or striking, may injure, maim, or kill the opponent. Thus, Hapkido students must start early mental training, especially the beginner, must understand the order of technique and keep the sparring partner aware so that injury is prevented. Hapkido is begun with consideration for well-being and finalized with the same consideration. Since Hapkido activity may be dangerous, the practitioner must concentrate at all times during the Hapkido mental and physical training. Mental and physical benefits of Hapkido. The healthy mind with healthy body is necessary for a healthy life. If there isn't no good health or good mental attitude, the glory of power is meaningless. One philosopher said Hapkido training does not just stop at training with the physical techniques, but it develops and enhances physical and mental culture. Hapkido helps develop the corporal body through physically and mentally. The balance, furthermore, provides more stability in family life and society through danjun breath control. The heart and lungs are being developed and inner strength is more readily available to you. Safe joint twisting techniques stimulates the nerves and the overall metabolism, balance blood pressure and organs. The coverage extends from head to toes and includes better skin tones, exercising thusly delay the inflexibility of old age. Mental discipline is also taken as an important part of Hapkido training. Stress is put on the fact that Hapkido is not a weapon to be used unjustly. The peak of mental discipline and culture is called Sun, serenity in a clear and peaceful state of mind. Sun can be obtained from Chung, tranquil of mind. In Hapkido, through physical movement, Dong, one could obtain Chung. Thus, one can obtain Sun through Dong. In other words, one could maintain a calm and concentrated mental state, Chung, even during the vigorous physical movement, Dong, or Hapkido exercises. Finally, one can reach to a state of Sun through Chung, which is derived from Dong. All these indicate Hapkido does not end as a martial art. It is a way of living and the Oriental philosophy of life. Ultimately, the student Hapkido should aim at Sun. When a person attains Sun, he becomes a possessor of warm character, mature in personality, and thus constructive member in society. For this reason, there is no age restriction in Hapkido. From young children to senior citizens, all can participate. Up to the age of adolescence, Hapkido helps children in their physical development and growth. For older people, Hapkido relieves them of their mental stress and other psychological problems caused by fast-moving modern industrial and scientific social structures and lack of physical exercise. Just as Hapkido is proper for all ages, it is also for both sexes. Perhaps women can profit from it even more than men. In contemporary society, women are interested in martial arts not only because they feel the need of physical fitness, but also for beauty and as a means of self-defense. Hapkido is a very fitting martial art to provide all these. Furthermore, Hapkido exercise does not require vigorous strength. Rather, in a natural and relaxed physical pose, one can attack and defend. Through the exercises, women can refine their figure and improve skin tone and the elasticity of their muscles. Thus, Hapkido exercise preserves youth and beauty. Preservation of youth, beauty, self-protection from unexpected attack, all of these can be realized by the female practitioner of Hapkido. It can make her more confident and enhance her life. History of the World Hapkido Federation. The World Hapkido Association had been established on December 20, 1973 by high-ranking Hapkido masters from various cities. Prior to the formation of the World Hapkido Federation, there was no organization or person to unify the Hapkido masters or schools in the United States or other countries. There were only a limited number of small associations with few members. Shortly after the establishment of the World Hapkido Association, with the widespread support and encouragement of the Hapkido community, the first general meeting was held in Detroit, Michigan on June 23, 1974. That city became the headquarters of the association and the focal point for the Hapkido community. At the first general meeting, Grandmaster Kwon Myung was elected president. Grandmaster Kwon Myung, the president, had authored and published Korean Hapkido, a Hapkido instruction manual, which was the most significant project for the propagation of Hapkido. The creation of this book consumed 2 years of effort and the personal financial support of Grandmaster Myung. Grandmaster Myung also conducted annual Hapkido seminars promoting Hapkido through the presentation and demonstration of new Hapkido techniques, which were the product of research by various outstanding masters of Hapkido and its schools. Since the first meeting, biannual General Assembly meetings have been held. In 1976 and 1978, the second and third biannual meetings were held, respectively, which nurtured closer ties and friendship between the Hapkido masters. On June 28, 1981, the fourth general meeting was held in Chicago, Illinois. Subsequently, the fifth and sixth biannual meetings were held as scheduled. At the sixth biannual meeting, held on September 29, 1985, the association has firmly established itself as a recognized representative of practitioners of Hapkido. On November 16, 1985, Hapkido Association members rallied in San Diego, California, and unanimously voted to change the name of the association to the World Hapkido Federation in an effort to unify all associations and other organizations practicing Hapkido. At this time, the official organization of Unified Hapkido members worldwide was inaugurated as the World Hapkido Federation. About the author, Grandmaster Kwon is a native Korean and 9th-degree black belt in Hapkido. Kwon is president of the World Hapkido Federation. The author was very fond of martial arts from his childhood. He started martial arts when he was 8 years old and became a 1st-degree black belt in Hapkido at the age of 12. During his high school days, he was truly a pioneer in organizing classes for fellow students. In college, he majored in commerce at Sungkyunkwan University in Seoul, Korea. During his younger years, he studied many styles of martial arts, including karate, judo, kondo, charyok, tongsudo, and taekwondo. He also learned acupuncture, oriental calligraphy, and Oriental India ink drawing. During his college days, he was also an active instructor of the Korea General Headquarters of Hapkido. Upon graduation from college, he was appointed as the director of Northern Branch Dojang, Korea Hapkido Association. Endeavoring to attain the highest degree of perfection in his art, the author retreated to Mount Tebek for several years to live a monastic experience and practice his art. After the Mount Tebek experience, he traveled to Southeast Asia to spread knowledge of his beloved art. Upon returning from his journeys, he found the Korea Hapkido Yeonmu Hwan Association. The author first published a Hapkido history, the textbook of Hapkido, in Korean, which observers and experts alike agree was the turning point in the development of modern-day Hapkido in Korea. His considerable contribution was recognized when he was appointed a permanent director of the Korea Hapkido Association. The author found an institute for the furtherance of Hapkido as a highly visible martial art. The institute provided specialized training to the director of each dojang, instructors and advanced degree black belt holders universally. To honor and recognize this truly exceptional individual, he was promoted to senior instructor. At the request of government of the United States, the author was extended an invitation to visit the United States. He subsequently summoned all instructors worldwide to organize the World Hapkido Federation. The call to this directive was heard in Latin America, Asia, Europe, and North America. As a direct result of this coming together, the author was inaugurated as the president of this world organization, which at present lay claim to overseas chapter in more than 30 countries throughout the world. The author's second published Hapkido book, Korean Hapkido, Ancient Art of Masters, in English, contained beginner to black belt techniques in over 300 pages. The author has taught over 320 seminars for Hapkido knowledge, philosophy, and techniques all over the world. He has traveled in South America for Hapkido seminars and established Hapkido associations and schools under the World Hapkido Federation banner. The author wrote the third Hapkido book, Hapkido Weapons, Volume 1, Knife Defense Techniques, Tan Gum Sir. The fourth book, Hapkido Weapon, Volume 2, Cane Techniques, Chang Sur. And fifth book, Hapkido Forms, Hapki Hyungse. Grandmaster Myung always works to develop Hapkido and the World Hapkido Federation as the best martial art and the best martial arts organization in the world. Tanjun breathing technique. For warm-up, E1 but muscle relaxing exercise is enough. However, to cultivate neki, inner power, the Tanjun exercise is necessary. Tanjun breathing technique is a scientific method unique to Hapkido. Tanjun breathing exercise control breathing and concentrate the total physical power on one point, the Tanjun. Tanjun is an Oriental medical term indicating the portions of the abdomen about 1.5 inches below the navel. The region of Tanjun differs slightly according to the individual body structure. Tanjun is the foundation of human power, and therefore it has to be strengthened to produce superhuman power, which is used freely during Hapkido performance. Tanjun breathing exercise collects power and enables the power to be used swiftly. The same breathing exercise enhances one's mental concentration and body balance. Tanjun breathing also makes the internal organs strong and resistant to internal disease. It enhances metabolism, blood circulation, health, and strength. Preservation of health, physical fitness, and youth cultivates mental discipline and a mature personality, and mastering the self-defense technique of Hapkido are all based on Tanjun breathing exercises. This fundamental power is called ki in Hapkido. Ki also includes the meaning of unshakable courage and dynamic force. Ki can be categorized into negi and wegi. Negi means internal power of the body, and wegi signifies external power. Negi is strengthened by Tanjun breathing exercises. Method of Tanjun Hohup. Stand erect with feet apart approximately shoulder width. The toes pointed straight ahead, maintaining perfect balance. The fingers are spread apart as far as possible. Concentrate the total physical power on the fingertips. During the concentration, the wrist will naturally become hardened like a stick. In Hapkido, this is a basic stance. This state of concentration of power on the fingertip is called live hands. As far as the effective use of power is concerned, Hapkido is not different from other martial arts. It differs in the use of effective power techniques. The concentration of power in Hapkido is natural, as though rain drops from a river. Therefore, at the moment of live hands, the total power body is accumulated in the wrists and arms. As a result, they become hardened. The hardening of the arm is called kar, meaning long knife in Hapkido. When kar is used to press or break some portion of the opponent's body, it is called break or press with kar. Therefore, whenever kar is mentioned during the training, it means powerful arms unless a real long knife is specifically mentioned. This should not be confused. Attention, spread your legs, open your hands and spread your fingers apart, place them on your hips. Concentrate your attention on one point ahead of you about 15 degrees above your normal line of vision. Inhale deeply through your nose. Push the air down into your abdomen, focusing on the one point about 1.5 inches below your navel. Bend your knees and keep your back straight. Tense your hands and push outward in curved motion, up as high as your eyes. Keep your hands spread apart to shoulder width. Exhale through your mouth. Pull your hands back to your hips. Following the same path as you use, push them out. Stand up, locking the knees. Method of falling. Nakpop. Fighting stance. Step forward with the rear foot. Place both hands on the floor. Place your hand down, edge of the hand front, and then make a circle between your foot and hand. Roll over, following the arm and across your shoulders. Slap the floor with the hand and keep the head tucked into the chest. The leg along the floor and the foot touching the floor. Stand up, fighting stance. Attack and defense stance. Hongbang jate. Mastering the skill for attack and defense is most important in Hapkido practice. There are about 20 different kinds of attack and defense stance depending on their unique peculiarity. That is, from what direction does an opponent attack, and what is general body structure of the defender. For example, a short defender poses a stand that makes him appear to be tall. The choice of proper stance depends also on how many opponents you are facing and on the convenience of your attack and utilization of your opponent's weakness. In short, a good stance for attack and defense should be the one that leads to the successful completion of the attack and winning of the fight. Stance with the fist in the front. This stance is most common and fundamental one in Hapkido. You should master the skills of balancing your weight, position of your feet, and control of force. The steps to be are as follows. Raise your fist to your shoulder height so as to maintain a 90-degree angle between upper and lower arm while keeping your elbow to the flank and putting in line with your knee. The fist should be near the elbow with 90-degree bend to the arm. Keep your foot pointed to the front. Put your foot in the rear. Your body should be placed on a 45-degree angle. Your body weight should be divided with a 2/3 on the rear foot and 1/3 of your body weight on the front foot. This stance is usually used to attack and defend. This is an ideal stance to protect your chest, face, and flank. The stance with your right foot and fist in front is called the right stance. Similarly, the left stance is when the left foot and fist are forward. Stance with the fist in the front. Attention. Turn the right foot at 90-degree angle from your left. Slide the left foot forward so that you have a distance between your heels, slightly longer than shoulder width, and bend the knees. Form two fists. Place the left fist at shoulder height and in the line with the left knee. Place the right fist next to the left elbow. Your body should be at 90-degree angle. Stance with the fist to the side. This stance is unique in Hapkido and ideal for free fighting because attack with the front foot and change of weight and balance are easy. It is easier to defend attack from below. Basic steps for this stance are as follows. Put your hand on your breast with your elbow protecting your flank. Maintain a 90-degree angle between elbow and shoulder. Keep both fists on top of your breast, but about 1/5 distance apart. Put your hand on your side. Put your left foot to your left and keep a distance of a foot between right and left foot. With your body in 45-degree angle, maintain 3/4 of your body weight on your left and 1/4 of your weight on your right. This stance is mainly used for attack with the feet and its defense. Stance with fist to the side. Attention. Turn the right foot to a 90-degree angle from the left. Slide the left foot forward approximately 1 foot and raise onto the ball of the foot. Form two fists. Place the left fist on the right chest muscle and then move it away from the body approximately the width of 1 fist. Place the right fist on the right side of the waist. The body should be at 45-degree angle. Stance with raised hands. Stance with raised back hand. Stance with open hands. Stance with fold arms. Stance with knife hands. Striking technique, single punching technique. As described before, the meaning of single striking technique is a technique of attack by hitting, kicking, punching, cutting, or striking either empty-handed or with a weapon. In this action, peculiar only to martial arts, Hapkido does not attack with a fist randomly. When you attack with a fist, make your fist effective by striking a peculiar target. Different kicking techniques are also applied according to the nature of the target. For example, when attacking a small vital pressure point with a fist, it damages only the surrounding parts without making contact with the intended small point. Another unique feature of Hapkido's striking technique is it is supple and fast and strong. Striking technique could be classified into hand and foot techniques. The hand techniques could be further divided into single and multiple, while the foot techniques are divided into single, multiple, and special. Center knuckle punch. Fighting stance. Extend the left hand, fingers spread apart, from a center knuckle punch with the right hand. Extend the middle knuckle out, strengthening the index finger and place it next to the third knuckle. Place the thumb over the index finger. Raise it to the head. Step forward with the right foot. The right leg should be bent, left leg straight, and the shoulder in line. Circle the right hand down to the waist and extend it out straight, level with eyes. At the same time, return the left hand to the left waist. Knife and striking. Fighting stance. Extend the left hand, fingers spread apart. Raise your right hand straight over the head and form a knife hand. This is done by placing the fingers of your hand together and bending the last set of knuckles. Tuck the thumbs into the side of the hand. Step forward with the right foot. The right leg should be bent, left leg straight, and the shoulders in line. Keep the right arm straight, chop down, stopping at the left knee. At the same time, return the left hand to the left waist. Inner knife hand striking. Fighting stance. Extend the left hand, fingers spread apart. Extend the right hand straight behind you, forming the inner knife hand. This is formed like a knife hand. Only the thumb is tucked under the hand. Step forward with the right foot. The right leg should be bent, left leg straight, and the shoulder in line. Keep the right arm parallel with the floor. Swing your arm around and stop, striking at the left shoulder. At the same time, return the left hand to the left waist. Palm heel strike. Fighting stance. Extend the left hand, fingers spread apart. Raise the right arm to the head and from a palm heel. This is done by forming a knife hand and then bending your fingers into your knuckles. Step forward with the right foot. The right leg should be bent, left leg straight, and the shoulders in line. Circle the right hand to the waist and extend it straight out to the eye level. At the same time, return the left hand to the left waist. Tiger's mouth striking. Fighting stance. Extend the left hand, fingers spread apart. Raise the right arm to the head and form a tiger's mouth. This is done by forming a pseudo knife hand and then moving your thumb away from the hand. The striking area is a surface between the index finger and thumb. Step forward with the right foot. The right leg should be bent, left leg straight, and the shoulders in line. Circle the right hand down to the waist and then extend it to the eye level. Return the left hand to the left hip at the same time. Back fist striking. Fighting stance. Extend the left hand, fingers spread apart. Step forward with the right foot. The right leg should be bent, left leg straight, and the shoulders in line. Circle your right arm in a vertical strike using the back of the fist. Bend the fist slightly downward. Return the left hand to the left waist at the same time. Knuckle hand, fighting stance. Extend your left hand and spread your fingers apart. Draw your right hand back and form a knuckle hand. This is done by forming a palm heel and then slightly bending the knuckles. The striking area is a second set of knuckles. Step forward with your right foot. Your right leg should be bent, left leg straight, and your shoulders in line. Extend your right arm straight out, bend the elbow, and draw the right hand to your left shoulder. Return the left hand to the left waist at the same time. Spear hand, fighting stance. Extend the left hand, fingers spread apart. Raise the right hand to the head and form a spear hand. The striking area will be the fingertips. Step forward with the right foot. The right leg should be bent, left leg straight, and the shoulders in line. Circle the right hand to the waist and then extend it straight out. The palm of the hand should be up. Return the left hand to the left waist at the same time. Forearm striking, fighting stance. Extend the hand, fingers spread apart. Bring the arm straight behind you and form the forearm strike. This is done by forming a right angle between the upper and lower arms. Bend your fingers so that they form a series of steps. The index finger being the bottom step, place the thumb over the index finger. Step forward with the right foot. The right leg should be bent, left leg straight, and the shoulders in line. Swing your arm around, keeping it in line with the shoulder. Return your hand to the waist at the same time. Elbow striking. Fighting stance. Extend the hand and fingers spread apart. Open and tense your hand and spread the fingers. Step forward with your foot and strike with your elbow. Return your hand to the waist at the same time. Basic techniques. Hapkido has all the usual strikes and kicks. It also uses a number of such attacks which are not very well known and could be said to be unique to Hapkido. In addition, Hapkido has hundreds, if not thousands, of throwing and controlling techniques involving grabs and pressure points. 10 of these techniques will be described in this article with the accompanying photographs. The techniques are portrayed from fighting stance, however, they can be applied from grabs, punches, and other types of attacks. Elbow pressure technique. Both individuals are in the fighting stance. Master Myung grabs his attacker's wrist and rotates it counterclockwise. He then brings the wrist to the upper portion of his chest. Master Myung then extends the edge of his hand with the fingers open to a point just above the attacker's elbow and exerts pressure on the elbow. This pressure is continued as he steps in and pushes the attacker down. Wrist throw technique. Master Myung steps forward with his foot. He grabs the attacker's hand. Master Myung's hand is then brought up to assist his other hand with the thumbs laced across each other. The wrist is then twisted, and as the Master Myung steps in, the attacker is thrown down. Wrist lock technique. Master Myung grabs the attacker's wrist with his hand and rotates it counterclockwise and down to his other hand. This hand grabs the attacker's wrist in a lock and exerts pressure. Master Myung releases his hand and re-grabs the attacker's hand with a thumb laced across the back of the attacker's hand. Master Myung exerts pressure by stepping forward and delivers a kick to the ribs or face of the attacker. Bent arm throw. Master Myung steps in while simultaneously blocking the attacker's hand and striking the attacker's face. Master Myung then brings the attacker's arm down to his hand while grabbing the attacker with both hands. Master Myung then pivots in front of the attacker, bending the attacker's elbow and throwing him to the ground. Forward wrist throw technique. Master Myung grabs the attacker's wrist with his hand and brings the attacker's arm down to Master Myung's waiting hand. This hand grabs the attacker's hand across its edge. Master Myung then steps under the attacker's arm, pivots, and throws the attacker forward. Elbow wrist throw. Master Myung steps in and grabs the attacker's elbow, exerting finger pressure on the pressure points in the elbow. Master Myung's hand grabs the wrist of the attacker and bends it backward. While exerting pressure on both the wrist and elbow, Master Myung steps in and throws the attacker down, keeping the arm locked. Arm lock technique. Master Myung grabs the attacker's wrist with his hand and brings the attacker's arm down. Master Myung then grabs the back of the attacker's hand with his hand, exerting pressure on the wrist. Master Myung's hand then bends the attacker's elbow using the pressure point. As Master Myung pivots with the outside, the attacker is thrown to the ground while the arm lock is maintained to control him. Leg sweep technique. Master Myung grabs the attacker's wrist with his hand and rotates it clockwise, bringing it under Master Myung's armpit. Master Myung then executes a leg sweep while striking the attackers on the shoulder or other portions of the upper body, throwing the attacker to the ground. Hip throw technique. Master Myung blocks with his hand and strikes it to the attacker's face with his hand. The arm of the attacker is then brought down in front of him and is grabbed by Master Myung's hand. Master Myung then steps across in front of the attacker and executes a hip throw, keeping the attacker's elbow across Master Myung's chest. Shoulder throw technique. This technique starts just like hip throw technique, except that when the attacker's arm is shifted to Master Myung's hand, the Master Myung delivers an elbow strike to the attacker's rib. The attacker's arm is then pulled deeply over Master Myung's shoulder, and the attacker is thrown to the ground. These techniques can be quite dangerous to an uninitiated student. It is therefore strongly recommended that they only be practiced under supervision of qualified Hapkido instructor to avoid very serious injury. This is a very important point which must be mentioned in this article in order to ensure the correct and successful performance of this techniques. Technique of dynamic movement, Do-Jin-Bub. Briefly, Do-Jin-Bub is the alternate rhythmic lifting of the legs as it's running. Do-Jin is an essential martial art training as if other sport, which need speed and endurance. So too in Hapkido, one should be swifter than the opponent and able to outlast him in order to win. The ideal way of martial art is to win without fighting. Even though it is not an ideal, once engaged in a fight, one must win regardless of any condition and situations. Therefore, one must be superior than the opponent in speed, endurance, power, and techniques. Do-Jin-Bub is a technique unique to Hapkido. The whole body is sprung up in the air by alternating the legs, thus cultivating endurance and speed. This exercise is also basic of foot techniques. An analysis of human body structure at the moment of the jump reveals the momentum of jump comes from the springing action of the waist, knees, ankle, and feet. When one tries to jump with the heels on the ground, he can realize the important function of the ankles. From the medical point of view, Do-Jin-Bub develops the Achilles tendon, flexibility of vertebra, hip and knee joints, ankle, and pedestral joints, together with the elasticity of the lower body muscles. Thus, the Do-Jin-Bub exercise controls the body weight and balance, cultivates the ability to jump, and enhances speed. Accordingly, it is a base for Hue-Ki. Method of Do-Jin-Bub. Spread the feet apart to shoulder width. Lift the heel while breathing in and apply the power in Do-Jin-Bub. Make tight fists. Place the hardened fist on the waist. Lift the left leg fully, and when the left leg is halfway down, lift the right leg. Repeat the jump motion at interval of 1 second for 200 to 500 times. The exercise can be started on either the right or left leg. Attention! Place your fist on your waist. Raise your right leg up to at least waist level. Your foot should be in the center line of your body, and your leg should be bent at the knee. Return your leg to its original position. Raise your left leg up to at least waist level. Your foot and leg should be kept as they were before. Repeat this exercise 200 to 500 times. Each time your foot hits the ground, count it as 1. Single kicking techniques. 단식 쪽. Position. Side kick. Fighting stance. Pivot on the feet. Execute a high block with the arm. Bring the foot into the knee. Kick straight out, pivoting on the standing foot. The toes should be curled up and the ball of the foot tucked in so that you are striking with the edge of the foot. Set the foot down in the front of you. Do not pull the leg back. Return to the fighting stance. Inside kick, fighting stance. Inner forearm block with the right arm, low block with the left arm. Circle the right leg out to the right and sweep it across the body. Return the foot to its original position. Outside kick, fighting stance. Inner forearm block with the right arm, low block with the left arm. Circle the right leg to the left and sweep it across the body and to the right. Return the foot to its original position. Center toe kick, fighting stance. Inner forearm block with the right arm. The left hand to the left waist at the same time. Bend the right leg at the knee. Snap the right leg straight out and back. Return the foot to its original position. Inside low scoop kick. Fighting stance. High block with the left arm. Low block with the right arm. Sweep the right foot straight out. Return the foot to its original position. Low circle heel kick. Fighting stance. Inner forearm block with the right arm. Left hand to the left waist at the same time. Bend the right leg and strike it in a circular manner, going from the left to the right. Strike with the heel by curling your toe up, pushing the heel down, and twisting the foot so that edge is parallel with the floor. Return the foot to its original position. Low curve kick. Fighting stance. Inner forearm block with the right arm. Left hand to the left waist at the same time. Kick in a circular manner going from your right to left. Strike with foot edge to its origin, turning it opposite way from low circle heel kick. Return the foot to its original position. Knife edge front kick. Fighting stance. Inner forearm block with the right. Left hand to the left waist at the same time. Throw your right leg straight up. Pull the foot in and tuck it so that the edge of the foot may be used to strike. Knife edge down kick. Same way from knife edge front kick. Circle the right leg to the left and up, forming the knife edge kick. Swing it across the center line of the body and strike straight down with the foot edge. Knife edge push kick. Form the knife edge front kick. Bend the right leg. Push out with the right leg, striking with the foot edge. Heel down kick. Fighting stance. Inner forearm block with the right. Left hand to the left waist at the same time. Fingers spread apart. Circle the right leg to the left and up. Pull the toes in and push the heel out. Swing the leg to the center line of the body and strike down with heel. Return the foot to its original position. Cover kick. Fighting stance. Inner forearm block with the right. Left hand to the left waist at the same time. Fingers spread apart. Throw the right leg up. When it reaches the peak, twist the foot so that the outer edge may face the floor and drop it straight down. Return the foot to its original position. Heel down hook kick. Fighting stance. Inner forearm block with the right. Left hand to the left waist at the same time. Fingers spread apart. Raise the right leg to the right. Drop the heel down at a 45-degree angle. Return to your original position. Roundhouse kick. Fighting stance. Inner forearm blocked with the right, left hand to the left waist at the same time, fingers spread apart. Cock your right leg up and into U. Pivot around on your standing foot and snap your right leg out in a circular path. Strike with the top of the foot. Return to your original position. Heel high hook kick. Fighting stance. Inner forearm blocked with the right, left hand to the left waist at the same time and spread fingers apart. Throw your right leg up to your left, pivot on your standing foot, and twist your right foot so that the inner side may be parallel with the ground. Hook your right leg across, going from left to right. Do not bend the knee. Return to your original position. Slap kick. Fighting stance. Inner forearm blocked with the right, left hand to the left waist at the same time, fingers spread apart. Draw the right leg in, slap the foot out, and at an angle, and strike with the top of the foot. Return to your original position. Knee lift kick. Fighting stance. Extend both arms and straight out. Raise your right knee up as high as you can. Toes should point down. At the same time, pull your hands down past your knee. Return to your original position. Techniques of wrist part. Sonmoksu. Joint locking technique. Gokgisu. Joint locking 1. Tense your hand and spread the fingers apart. Step in with a foot, push with your hand. Twist your hand around, grab the edge of his hand with yours. Twist your hand free, breaking his thumb with your wrist. Step in with your foot again, push down above his elbow with your arm. Joint locking 2. Tense your hand, spread the fingers apart. Step to the right, twist your hand up at the same time. Grab his hand with yours and break your hand free. Grab with your hand, step in with your foot and twist his hand. Joint locking 3. Tense your hand and spread the fingers apart. Step in with your foot and turn the heel out. Grab the opponent's wrist with your hand and push back against his fingers with your hand. Step through and pivot around, grabbing his wrist. Take one step forward and take him to the ground. Follow up. Joint locking 4. Tense your hand and spread the fingers apart. Step in with your foot and grab his hand with your hand. Step in with your foot, pivot around and trap his arm between your arm and body. Push in on his hand and pull out on his arm. Joint locking 5. Tense your hand and spread the fingers apart. Step to the right and raise the arm at the same time. Grab his elbow with your hand and step in with your foot. Step behind him with your foot and place him in a hammer lock. Take one step forward with the foot to take him to the ground. Follow up. Striking technique. Derigisu. Striking 1. Tense your hand and spread the fingers apart. Step forward with your foot. Push your hand straight down and twist it in a counterclockwise motion. Execute an elbow strike with the arm to the opponent's solar plexus of face. Striking 2. Tense the hand, spread the fingers apart. Bend your hand in towards the wrist. Step in with your foot, raise the left hand at the same time. Strike the inner portion of his wrist with an outer forearm strike. Follow up with a side chop using the hand. Striking 3. Tense the hand and spread the fingers apart. Bend your hand in towards the wrist. Step in with your foot. Raise the hand at the same time. Strike the inner portion of his wrist with an outer forearm strike and break your right hand free. Pivot around and execute an elbow strike to his solar plex or face with your elbow. Striking 4. Tense the hand and spread the fingers apart. Step in with a foot. Twist your hand free. Side chop with the hand. Grab his shoulder with your hand and execute a twisting punch. Striking 5. Form tiger mouth with a hand. Step in with a foot. Execute tiger's mouth strike with the hand. At the same time, pull him into you with your hand. Kicking techniques. Cha-gi-su. Kicking 1. Tense your hand and spread the fingers apart. Step to the side with your foot and push forward with your hand. Draw your hand back, twist it around and grabbing his wrist. Raise his arm up and execute a side kick with your leg. Kicking 2. Tense your hand and spread the fingers apart. Step into T-stance and move the foot. At the same time, push in with your hand. Raise your foot, execute a heel-high hook kick. Kicking 3. Tense your hand and spread the fingers apart. Step in with your foot. At the same time, grab in with your hand. Twist your hand around and grab his wrist. Twisting up his wrist with your 2 hands. Pull his arm down. Execute a heel down hook kick with your foot. Kicking 4. Tense your hand and spread the fingers apart. Raise the hand up. Step in with your foot. Push the hand straight forward. Execute a front knife edge push kick with your foot. Kicking 5. Tense your hand and spread the fingers apart. Step in with your foot. Catch wrist and area between your thumb and index finger. Raise his arm up high and grab his shoulder with your hand. Execute a knee lift kick with your leg. Target his face and chest. Throwing techniques. Donjigi-su. Throwing 1. Tense your hand and spread your fingers apart. Step in with your foot. Grab his hand with your hand and break your hand free. Step in with your foot and execute an elbow strike with your hand. Throw him over your shoulder. Follow up. Throwing 2. Tense your hand and spread the fingers apart. Step in with your foot and pull the hand back towards you. And twist the hand around and grab his wrist. Pull your hand in to your right chest. Simultaneously, execute a foot sweep with your leg and palm heel strike his shoulder with your hand. Follow up. Throwing 3. Tense your hand and spread the fingers apart. Step in with your foot towards his foot. Grab his hand with your hand and break your hand free. Step in with your foot. Circle his waist with your right hand. Execute a hip throw. Pull in your chest on his arm at the same time. Chungi Hapkido form. Chungi Hyungse. This is the first form of Hapkido. If you haven't learned the individual techniques which are contained in this form, you cannot learn the form. The word Chun means heaven, and the word Ki means power or energy. Literally, Chungi means to take energy from the heaven into your body. Chungi is the incorporation of the power of the universe into your body through Danjan Hohap Bab, or Hapkido breathing exercises. When you practice Danjan breathing, you must envision the power and energy of the whole universe entering your body. All the techniques in this form are basic. Striking techniques or kwanser or single punches. And kicking techniques or 단식 jokser or single kicks. The throws and joint locks are likewise very basic. The direction of movement is front to back along the same line. Chungi Hyungse, starting position. The starting position for this exercise is with the palms together with the hands in a praying position. As in many religions, this is a sign of request for forgiveness. In Hapkido, this position stands for left and right, or yin and yang. The right hand stands for the body, and the left hand stands for the mind. Placing the hands together represents the unification of mind and body, and combines the ki of each. It is most important you concentrate when commencing this form. If you don't concentrate, the form merely looks like dancing. When both hands are put together and your concentration is fixed, inhale deeply and exhale slowly. Chungi Hyungse Danjan, breathing. The breathing for this first form is basic and is the first type of breathing learned in Hapkido. The feet are placed shoulder width apart, open both hands, extend the fingers, and place the palms of your hand against side of your belt. Slowly and deeply, inhale through your nose, fill your lung with the air. Push the air down into your abdomen. While holding the air in your abdomen, slowly extend your hands forward at about 45 degrees. Exhale and return your hands to the initial position. This breathing method is explained more fully in book Korean Hapkido by Master Myung. This breathing technique is difficult for the beginner, but the student must continue to practice. Danjan literally means abdomen. Forcing the air into the abdomen makes the stomach hard. For the beginner, this can be dangerous because the inner and outer part aren't balanced. There's a risk that the student could faint. Therefore, this must be practiced initially under the supervision of instructor experienced in this breathing technique.